Hello and welcome to another episode of Die of a Coin Dealer. This is the semi-sporadic content I put out typically on a Monday. Today it's a Thursday, but I thought I'll just put it out because I've got the time to do it. So a few months back, I told you I was working on a 4 month cycle and I was pushing it hard, and the plan was to make between 12 to 16. And then the first month of that cycle, it was let's just say I took a kicking. I did about 530, £540 profit. But that's not even a profit. Well, it is a profit, but it means my wealth goes down. So the plan was make 3 grand a month, the wealth goes up. But it doesn't really matter now, and I'll explain. Like typically February and August are my last months. So going into the first month of that period, hitting a 500, thinking, this ain't going to be too good, you know. I managed to swing it around. Like so far, I've got a couple of coins. If they sell, it's going to put me on about a 6 to 6.2 month. I've absolutely smashed out the ballpark. But moving forward, the reason that's important and the reason I wanted to put this video out is because I've hit what I need in terms of the finances. It's just an unwind job for me. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to be quitting coin dealing. Far from it. I've really kind of got back into the groove and I do enjoy it. But I'm going to do it on my terms. You know, if people want to sell to me, and many people do message me from YouTube and social media, etc., and they're looking to sell. Sometimes we do a deal and sometimes we don't. You know, I'm still buying up these collections, but I'm moving the business from a kind of integrated coin business where I have reserves and I put things away for the future. I'm getting rid of that. I'm just going to be buying coins and selling coins. And that's the model I want to move into. I think by doing it that way, I can, I can bring it down to a part-time status. That has helped with the stamps. I've changed how I work with the stamps also. So it brings me down to a level where I'm not really working that many hours. Now, in terms of what that means for this channel, well, I sound like a broken record. I'm like, I want to put more content out, yeah. And the brutal reality is, it didn't pay me enough to do it. It wasn't about the money. It wasn't about me wanting to make more money from YouTube. It was about that when I was putting out a lot of content on YouTube, the money I was losing because of the time, it wasn't it wasn't worth the squeeze, and I got a bit jaded. And then when I got sick, I didn't have the creative output. It wasn't there. I was just trading on instinct rather than trading on um, what I thought it would be. It's like, I know this works that way. I will trade it like that. But I'm not there anymore. Like, I feel in terms of like my mental capacities, I'm close to best. I'm not there. I have the odd day where I'm off and I'm super tired, but I feel like most days I get up, I feel fine. I go for a run. I run 5 6 kilometers. I go for a cycle. It's not a problem. I go to the football. Um, it's fine. So I think for me now, I've got to the point where I don't really need to earn the money I did. You know, because I don't want to say completed capitalism, but I think it would be a cool T-shirt with Jay from the In-Betweeners. Capitalism completed it, mate. But I'm in a position where I can take my foot off the gas because I'm not interested in building an empire. If I wanted to build an empire, I'd have a shop. You know, not a problem. I don't want a shop. I don't want staff. I like dealing with coins, but I want to do it on my terms. And if it means I deal with people one to one, I don't deal with my professional network anymore, and I don't deal with the auctions, etc. I don't know how that's going to look, but in terms of how I've been doing it, I won't be running it like that anymore. And it should mean that there's more time to put into making content. Now, it could be fun though. So for me, I always need a target. Maybe I'll run it like I want to make £100 a month, and that £100 a month will allow me to buy 4 or 5 US dollars. I think that is something cool that I could aspire to because I can put content out that kind of helps people and it's informative and it's educational It's not just about showing people coins, but talking about coins and the functions and how they work and the historical nature of coins. If I could get that to £100 a month, I'd be over the moon at that. It's not about the money. I don't need to do it. Whereas in the past, I'd be like, I want to make £6 a month. And that's a very high bar to set. And I would hit it on a lot of months. Also, like I've got to the point since I've been sick where I've been re-establishing some boundaries. I had a ding-dong with a supplier recently. What a shock. I've had a ding-dong with pretty much, I'd say nearly every supplier I've ever dealt with. And I just got to the point I don't want to deal with it. I'm a nice person, but I expect a certain standard. And when it doesn't get hit, I'm at the point where I'll just say it. And I say it in a way that's probably very rude. But that's me. I've just got to the point where I want people to treat me how I treat them. And I mirror them. So if they are rude to me, I'm rude to them. And that's probably not the best way to run a business. So maybe stepping it back and saying, you've made what you need, you've made what you wanted, and just focus on the things that you enjoy as a person. I think that's something it would motivate me to go out and put more content out. So as it's Die of a Coin Dealer, typically I talk about how the market is performing. You would have noticed that we breached $2,500. I think we're going to get to 3,000. I think we're going to get there relatively quickly. And you could say, why do you think that? And there's going to be some people, and there's people out there throwing mud at me on the weekly. It's really cute. It's like, oh, little chihuahua wants to bark at me. But it's like, the reason it's going to get there is because I've said it many times. We have a problem with debt in the West. There's no other reason. You know, the price goes up because we put more money in the system. We put more money in the system because our political terms are too short. Our political terms are too short because people are very flippant. You look at Labour in the UK. Like I don't really talk about politics. I try not to. It's landed me in hot water. I'm centre right. You know, I don't vote. I stopped voting a long time ago because it doesn't matter if you choose the red pill, the blue pill, or the yellow pill. You're still taking poison. Like, I don't think Labour's going to be in office for more than a term. I don't think they've got a chance. They've already annoyed too many people. So if they can't claw back the money via taxes, they're going to have to print more money, which increases the price of assets, including gold and property, etc., etc., etc. And it's not a system that is unique to the UK. It isn't. You look at the States, you look at Australia, and you can go on the world debt clock. You look at Europe, even Europe's debt has crept. We are in a system where things are getting sliced and diced to the smallest minimum. Like my road, right, there's a lot of issues where I live, for starters. I won't go into the reasons for it. I don't want to demonise certain communities. But it's changed a lot. And it's got to the point where most of my road is sold up and they're moving out because they are just buying houses. They're buying houses, and they're dicing it up. And that's how we're going. That's the route we're heading to. You're going to have the haves and the have-nots, and they're going to go like this. They're going to get wider. The middle class is being removed. The bottom class is, I'll say the bottom class, that's probably unfair. Working class, etc., which I came from. You know, it's tough. There used to be a food bank. Oh, there still is a food bank, but there was near my old primary school. Used to be no one there. Few people, but not really. Queue upon queue upon queue for people needing help because they can't afford to get by. I think that's the society we live in, and I think they're going to have to increase the debt to help people. It's got to come from somewhere. It's not going to come from the rich. The rich already paid a bulk of the taxes. Now, again, not left-leaning, right-leaning. I'm just saying it as a pragmatist. I think that's the system we're in. So that's why I think gold will go to 3,000. And you also need to realise the higher it gets, you've got to work in percentage terms. So 10% of 1,000 is £100. 10% of 2.5 is 250. It's easier. It's the same jump. And I think that's where we're at. 20% increase from 2.5, 3,000, and 20% is not a lot. If they increase the money supply by 10%, you could get there. It doesn't have to be like for like. It tends to swing up and down between over and under in comparison to the money supply. But you could get there. So I think we are heading there. And also, we're stuck in a really difficult time in terms of unrest, war. I want to make a video about that. I think that's going to be an interesting one. I have turned into a small bit of a prepper, which sounds counterintuitive to what I said earlier, but I do want to kind of break down what I mean by that. I think that's a video in itself. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Again, if you want to sell to me, I'm more than approachable. I'm still buying. I'll always be a buyer. It doesn't mean we can always hash a deal out. But yeah, take care, and I'll see you hopefully soon.